Welcome, Husker fans, and thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of Big Red Radio. I am your host, Caleb Generette. Next to me is your co-host, Zach Generette, also my brother. But before we start, we want to give a special shout out to our socials that you need to follow: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Content over there all the time, updates there all the time. We're asking you guys questions sometimes over there, so make sure to follow those. Make sure you like and subscribe. Liking this video really helps, really gets this video out to all the Husker fans that want to see it, just like you guys. And then subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single episode, so you see all the Husker news that you need to know. But also, right now, comment down below if you think Scott Frost is making it to the end of the season. Comment Y for yes, N for no, and you can even include like a little explanation if you want to. And then also, feel free to send us your best Nebraska memes or videos, and we'll repost them on the TikTok, repost them on the Instagram, just stuff like that. And I think that'll make stuff really fun. So let's get right into it with the review of last week's game. The Huskers scared us a little bit on Saturday. At halftime, it was tied 7-7. Came out really, really slow. Some are saying that's due to the jet lag. Some are saying it's due to players being sick. I don't really know. But we did get in the win column for the first time in 340 days. So that's a good thing. But before we start with the full preview and the full review of next week, Zach, how are you doing?
Good. Ready for some Husker football. And
super excited for this game coming up. But after last week, I'm a little more scared than I think I should be. But so starting with the review of last game, we're going to make this quick. We got bad news, and we'll start with the good news, and then we'll go to the MVPs. So bad news, my 3 bad news are the tackling was still bad, still arm tackles happening. When Dakota broke off like a 60-yard run, that stuff just shouldn't happen. We have no idea who's calling the plays. Was it Scott Frost in the second half? I sure think so, but we don't know. Obviously we're not going to know. He's not going to say anything. I think that could be an issue. Whether is Scott Frost just going to take play calling duties back from Mark Whipple all the time, or is it going to be Mark Whipple all the time? It's just confusing right now. And finally, there's still mental mistakes on the defensive side of the ball. You're still seeing these broken coverages just being left open, and also the arm tackles is another mistake. And it's just the defensive side of the ball just doesn't seem as coercive as you really want it to be, especially coming off last year where the defensive unit was the strength of our team. So what do you think was bad about the North Dakota game?
Obviously, like you said, defensively, we were in the right position. We had the effort, just missing tackles left and right, mental mistakes. Just didn't look like we were as zoned in, as focused as we need to be. Other than that, not a whole lot. Slow in the first half offensively, which is partly defense as well, because their offense stayed on the field for, 3/4 of the first half. So, yeah, that's most of it, I think, there. But, yeah, just little defensive things that we got to fix.
Yeah, for sure. So, good news. This was, I think, good to come out with a win. But some other things in the good news department. Garrett Nelson had his bounce back game. In the Northwestern game, he was kind of locked up with the best tackle in the country, which it's going to happen sometimes. But Garrett Nelson played really good. I'll actually mention Garrett Nelson later. But the second half offense, no matter who was calling the plays, looked really good. And we have an NFL caliber running back, I think, in Anthony Grant. And that, I think, wraps up what's good about this game. Is we found out Anthony Grant's the guy. Like, some of us were predicting that at the beginning of the year, that he was going to be the guy. Maybe slowly, maybe it was going to be kind of a backfield. Kind of everybody gets involved. What we've seen is Anthony Grant's the guy. A.J. Allen is his backup. And other than that, it's just situational game plan kind of stuff. And I don't think you can be necessarily upset with that, because you don't want to take the guy. Like, if Anthony Grant's having a great game, you don't just want to pull him because you want Yant to get in there. You want Gabe Irvin to get in there. You want Ramir Johnson to get in there. Anthony Grant is being the guy. And if he needs a breather, AJ Allen has been that next guy up, and he's also looked really good. But then once Anthony Grant is fresh again, you've seen Anthony Grant just goes back in the game and beats the guy again. So I think that people need to calm down a little bit on the coaching staff, saying they need to play these running backs more. I think what they're doing is the right thing to do. You got to play the hot hand. And right now, Anthony Grant's the hot hand. So I don't see any reason to change that.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. Let's take Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, for example. How many 4- and 5-star running backs are sitting on that bench at maybe even the third string that could go to any other school and start and, be a big name in their conference? So many are sitting on the bench. Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones sat on the bench for 3.5, 4 years before getting his time and then made the best of it. That's what you got to do. It's not always, I got all these great guys, and so I got to play them all. No, play the guy that's the best. The other guys, if you're not the best and you want to play, then be the best. It's pretty much that. It's that simple, really, in my eyes. Yeah, so the good for me is I feel like not only did we find our running back, but we found our offensive scheme. It looks like in that Northwestern game, maybe we thought we were a big pass-heavy offense. And don't get me wrong, Casey Thompson, Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda, and Trey Palmer are incredible. Those guys are legit. A few other guys as well, the tight end, legit. But I just think we're a run-first team, and the Big Ten's a run-first conference, and so that's what you got to do. And then I feel like the way Garrett Nelson played was really good. I feel like that brought out good games, and guys like Ochoan Mathis, Luke Reimer, other people, Miles Farmer did really get out there. Tommy Hill did really get out there. And I feel like you get one guy like Garrett Nelson go out there and play like that, it'll make all those guys play a little better. And I think we saw that. And then my last good thing is that I feel like there were drastic improvements from the Northwestern game all around. Obviously, still problems to fix. And then kind of a little fourth thing, but not really. It's to be really small. Scott Frost's post-game interview was the best one I've ever heard. He was super honest, super real, legit. He said straight up, he's like, I feel like we have the capabilities to be a great team and one of the best teams. We're just not there. And we had a lot of work to get there. We are not even close yet, but we will be there. Right. And so whether that was maybe his saving grace to the fans or I think it was real. Like, I think he really believes, and I really believe that we have all the talent in the world to be there. We just got a lot of work to do to get there. And that's what's going to happen when you bring in a lot of transfers and a lot of new coaches and a lot of new guys and stuff like that. But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this season. I think a lot of people have wrote the season off, and we are 1-1. So that just seems ridiculous to me. There's so much more football to play. Go back. Iowa lost to North Dakota State game 1 of the year, and then went on to have an incredible season. Things happen. Michigan losing to App State, going on to have an incredible season. Things happen. All right. You lose one, you drop one, cool, whatever. Let it go.
Yeah, and I think that's got to do with leadership. And I think Garrett Nelson, as we mentioned, has really taken on that leadership role. I think Scott Frost, no matter how you think of him as a football coach, I think he's a good leader. I think the players really like him. I think the players are really get behind him and really trust in his philosophies. Now moving on to our MVPs. I'll start with offense. I think it's an easy one. Anthony Grant was definitely the offensive MVP this week. Co-Big Ten Player of the Week. I think he should have been the offensive player of the week outright.
Well, the other guy had an incredible game.
It's Sean Clifford. I don't know. Sean Clifford. I don't know. Sean Clifford's not my favorite guy, but Anthony Grant was a beast. Ran for 189 yards. Just made guys miss like crazy. He looked like an NFL back. I'll say it. He looked like an all Big Ten caliber back, and I'm excited to see what he can do the rest of the year, especially now that it's really solidified that he's the guy and he's going to get most of the touches. He's my offensive MVP.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go Anthony Grant, offensive MVP. The jump juke is real. It's legit. It's the best I've seen. Uh, Honestly, I know they were making comparisons to Divine Azigbo with him, and this is the best back since. No, this is the best back since Amir Abdullah. This is Amir Abdullah caliber running right here. Like, we haven't seen this since Amir Abdullah, and that the things I would do to have those teams back. But
I know.
wasted talent for sure. But no, yeah, it's Anthony Grant's legit, and I can't wait to just run teams in the ground with him.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. So moving on to defense, I have Garrett Nelson. I mentioned him a little bit earlier. Finished with the second most tackles on the team, I think. Had a tackle for loss, had a sack. There was one play where he just completely obliterated the tackle, ran all the way across the line to make a tackle for loss on the other side of the field. Just showed great effort. As I said, has shown to be that leader. And Garrett Nelson definitely had his best game of the season, his bounce back game of the season that hopefully jumps him into greatness and the all Big Ten caliber player that we know he is. So Garrett Nelson was my defensive MVP.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go Garrett Nelson here. If you listen to the announcers, his name was always being played over, but at the same time, they were saying things like, Chenander has said before, if every guy on this team had the heart that Garrett Nelson did, we'd be the best defense in the country by far. It doesn't matter who's out there playing. Just kid from Nebraska, like they're saying, plays with a ton of heart. Small town boy, loves the team, loves football, and it shows. It shows that he just goes out there every play and just tries to do his absolute best, whether it comes to him or not.
Yeah, love Garrett Nelson. Love the captain mentality he brings. Special teams. I got a surprising one. Timmy Bleakroad is my special teams MVP. Yes, he missed a field goal, but he made 5 extra points, came back after the missed field goal, nailed it. You saw how excited Garrett Nelson and the whole team was. I think having the mental capacity to come back from a missed field goal like that and just come back, nail a field goal, nail 5 straight extra points, I think it's just more than you can ask for. And we haven't had very much luck with kickers. And yes, he missed one. Every kicker is going to miss. Okay. No kicker is perfect. And Timmy Bleakroad did a very good job at being near perfect this weekend. So Timmy Bleakroad is my special teams MVP of the week.
Yeah, I feel like this one was pretty cut and dry as well. Obviously, we don't have a Iowa punter game out here doing those kind of crazy things, but yeah, it's not like he came out and had a crazy game where he hit a 55 and a 60 and went 4 for 4 and stuff like that. But like you said, he was perfect on extra points. He missed a field goal, but then bounced back and made one. When's the last time we saw Nebraska with a good kicker? I don't know, 2015. So I'm just, it's more of the fact that he's been able to come in here, and we saw last year how big and important those field goals and those extra points are. We beat Oklahoma, we beat Michigan, we beat teams like that if we have those field goals and those extra points. So yeah, he's also my special teams MVP.
Yeah. So honorable mention for special teams MVP is IGC, that punt return catch to prevent it from bouncing and getting even farther downfield. The diving catch he had on the punt return, great. That's great stuff. I love the effort on special teams. That's what Coach Bush really wanted to push this year, and you're seeing it from guys like
My my non-special teams MVP is the guy who tried to pick up the punt that was trying to be down.
The LVP, least valuable player. We won't even say his name. Okay.
But that was dumb. That was really dumb.
Yeah, it was not the smartest decision. Hindsight 2020. Okay, so preview.
He was told that.
Oh yeah, plenty of times. So the preview Georgia Southern game. Let's start off with why we should be excited going into this game. Because yes, we'll start it off. Georgia Southern is not as talented as Nebraska. I think we know that. I think everybody in the country knows that. But talent doesn't always win football games. But also, I think Nebraska figured a lot out in that North Dakota game. I think the North Dakota game would have been a perfect season opener. We figured a lot of stuff out. I think we got our play calling. I think we got our offense really, really sound. And I like where we're going into this Georgia Southern game. And then finally, the running game has so much potential. Anthony Grant, who we've talked about already, and AJ Allen. AJ Allen is only a freshman, and he looks great. He is someone I'm super excited to watch for the rest of his Nebraska career because he is making these jump cuts like Anthony Grant, not to the Anthony Grant level, but AJ Allen is showing a lot of potential. I think this run game is like top of the Big Ten potential. I think we got a lot of backs, as we mentioned, that we can get involved if we need to. But even if we don't need to, Anthony Grant can go for 200. AJ Allen can go for 50. AJ Allen and Anthony Grant have a lot of potential, and I like where we're going with that into this game.
Yeah, I as well like that. I don't know why I'm seeing a lot of these. Oh my God, Georgia Southern beat Montana State or Morehead State, whatever the team.
Morgan State.
Morgan State 59. I don't care. I really don't. All right. That's ridiculous that you think that's a good win. Because any other team in the country beats that team 59-7. It doesn't matter. That's ridiculous. Go watch the film back. It looked like what's his name? Arch it looked like Arch Manning high school film out there. I mean, it was terrible. They were playing JV high school guys. Of course they beat them 59-7. I'm not saying Georgia Southern's bad, but come on. They're not going to stop Anthony Grant. We're going to wear him down. They're definitely not going to stop Trey Palmer and IGC when we run that play action. Also, I'm glad that now that we have a running back, we can run some play action, hold up the defense a little bit. I think this is looking really good. Also, Georgia Southern's a pass-heavy offense. Good luck. Ochuan Mathis, Garrett Nelson, they're going to be all up in your quarterback's face. The quarterback already makes dumb mistakes. What are you going to do when a guy named Garrett Nelson is up in your face mask? Come on. This is too good. This is too good.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, we've talked a lot of good, but now we got to move on to why we should be scared.
And it's a night game. It's a night game.
It's a night game.
So.
It's a night game. But why we should be scared, Georgia Southern put up 59 points. No matter who you're playing, 59 points in a college football game it's tough for any team to do, you know? And Georgia Southern is a more talented team than North Dakota, however you want to spin it. Georgia Southern is a D1 team in the Sun Belt. It's not a Power 5 conference, but they're still a D1 team. And then our defense, no matter how talented the players are, our pass defense especially has not looked very good. And when Georgia Southern passes the ball like they do 60, 65, 70% of the time, that's a little concerning because North Dakota was throwing these dink and dunk passes and just eating us up. So Georgia Southern does look a little scary on that front, but yeah, it's still Georgia Southern, but that's why I think we should be a little bit scared.
Yeah, I also think we should be scared on the fact they scored 59. Yeah, I get it was against Morgan State or whatever, but like you said, that's hard to do. And then I don't know what Scott Frost has been doing in practice before this week. He did say this week they're going number one offense versus number one defense. I don't quite know what was going on for the 4 years prior to this week, but now I feel like maybe we found the juice. Maybe we found the secret sauce. Let's just run our starters against each other. So maybe the tackling will go a little bit better with that. Maybe the pass defense will help a little bit better. But yeah, obviously, you go 7 into the half, 7-7 with North Dakota. Georgia Southern, if we play that game last week against Georgia Southern on the field, we're down 17-7 going into the half. And so obviously things got to improve, and I think they will. I think now that we found Anthony Grant and now that, Garrett Nelson got his, butt in gear and maybe he's going to get the rest of the defense in gear. I feel like this is the perfect scenario, perfect game before Oklahoma. We had the loss in week 0. Also, we need to stop scheduling week 0 games. It's ridiculous.
Especially out of the country.
Not even that. Quit scheduling week 0 games in the Big Ten. If you're going to schedule them, schedule the School of the Blind and Deaf to play, not not Northwestern or Illinois. Like, Jesus, come on. You got to be smarter than that. And then, yeah, so we're playing 1-versus-1 now. We lost one, we dropped one. Cool. We bounced back. We beat North Dakota. It's a little bit ugly. We come out, we look sharp versus Georgia Southern. Oklahoma, look out. Kent State, come on. Kent State, really? Yeah, good luck.
So quickly before we end this off, I want to go over our X factors. So Husker X factors for this week. For me, I got Casey Thompson. I think he needs to cut down on the risky throws and he needs to show more consistency. I think those have been his two biggest things. I think Casey Thompson, you can't just look at the QBR. That's a not a good stat to really look at when you're looking at what Casey Thompson has done because yes, he has the second lowest QBR in the Big Ten right now. But you can't say Casey Thompson has played bad. He's made some costly mistakes and he's had some drop balls that have led to interceptions, which is definitely crushing his QBR right now. But Casey Thompson overall, I think, has played good. He just needs to cut down on those risky throws, especially going into a game like Oklahoma, where those risky throws are not gonna pay off the way they have against North Dakota and Georgia Southern this week. So my second one is Ochon Mathis. He's played great. He's getting a lot of heat right now. I don't know why. People are expecting him to be this like all-time great, needs to sack the quarterback every time the quarterback drops back to pass. That's just not going to happen. Ochon Mathis is super talented, and I think he does need to take a step up, but he's played really good. But yes, especially against this air raid team, he needs to take a step up, and he needs to get to the quarterback a lot. Him and Garrett Nelson could be the best pass rush duo in the Big Ten if they really take that step up. And I think Garrett Nelson showed it last game, and I think Ochon Mathis needs to show it this game. And then finally, mental mistakes need to be cut down. We mentioned it earlier in the episode, especially against the air raid offense. You cannot have broken coverages. That is just going to eat you up all game. You can get them down to 3rd and 13 all you want, but if you have a broken coverage and it goes for 60 yards, all that you did before that does not matter. So those are my X factors: Casey Thompson, Ochon Mathis, and the mental mistakes. I think if we fix all of those things, we win this game pretty handily.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna start off O-line. O-line, we got to be better. You see it. If we can get Anthony Grant to the second, third level, he's going 15, 20 plus every run. If you look back on those 5-yard runs he has to make 3 guys miss to get 5 yards. Like, that's just unacceptable. We can't let that happen. If he's making 3, 4 guys miss, he's going to the house every time. That's where it needs to be. 5 yards needs to be right into the backers and he gets tackled. That's fine. Cool. Number 2 for me is defensive tackling. So Northwestern, the defensive effort was there, but the positioning and the tackling weren't. North Dakota, again, effort was there. Now the positioning is there. We just didn't execute the tackles, right? And so multiple times we came in, hit the guy, and we fell off. Now, if we can just put it all together, get the tackling in there, we're back to that top-tiered Big Ten defense that we were. And then finally, like you were saying, mental mistakes. It's got to be crisp and clean. Not a whole lot of penalties. Definitely not what we saw last year, but cutting the penalties, just getting our own way. That's what I feel like loses us a lot of games and gets us behind in a lot of games. After watching like Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Alabama, like you watch those teams, they're just crisp and clean. They're not doing anything crazy, no crazy trick plays or anything like that. Yeah, they got great players, but they're super crisp and they're super clean. They play together really well.
Yeah, for sure. So with that, we are going to wish you a safe watching weekend. We hope to be back next week happy and coming back with fire against Oklahoma, which will definitely be our toughest game yet, but I think we're up for it. But Zach,
look for some possible crazy content next weekend. Not this weekend, but Oklahoma weekend. Possible in the work, possible crazy content.
No promises, but we'll see what we can.
And if you want to help us out, sell us some Oklahoma tickets.
Right. Yeah.
Not my entire life and my life and my future kids' college fund, because it looks to be a great game and I'd love to pay that, but deep down I just feel like that may not be a good idea.
Yeah. Got to make some tough decisions. But once again, Follow all the socials: Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Always content over there. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell. Helps us out a ton. Gets more people to see our content. But with that, thank you for tuning in, and go Big Red.